John chapter 15, 9 through 17 says this, I have loved you even as the Father has loved me. Remain in my love. When you obey me, you remain in my love, just as I obey the Father and remain in his love. I have told you this so that you will be filled with my joy. Yes, your joy will overflow. I command you to love each other in the same way I love you. And here is how to measure it. The greatest love is shown when people lay down their lives for their friends. You are my friends if you obey me. I no longer call you servants because a master doesn't confide in his servants. Now you are my friends since I have told you everything the Father told me. You didn't choose me, I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear much fruit and that your fruit should remain, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, I will give to you. I command you to love one another. So in context, last video we talked about abiding in Christ and that we're like the branches and Christ is like the vine. And if we abide and remain with the vine, the life source who is Christ, then we will bear much fruit. And now Jesus is telling us practically how to abide in him. We need to remain in his love. In the book of Jude, it says, keep yourself in the love of God. We need to keep ourselves under the spout where the blessings come out. Keep ourselves under the love of God. Jesus says in verse 10, when you obey me, you remain in my love, just as I obey the Father and remain in his love. You see, if we want to abide in Christ, if we want to remain under his love, we need to keep his commandments. Also, Jesus wants us to have joy. He said, these things I said to you so that you might have joy and that your joy might overflow. Think of David when he said, my cup overflows and the joy of the Lord is our strength. And Christ came to give us a joyful life, not a defeated life. We're also commanded to love one another just as Christ loved us. And we can't die for other people's sins because only Christ can do that. But in the same way, we're supposed to lay down our lives and die to self so that we could live a sacrificial service life, as we talked about in John 13, how Jesus washed others' feet, the disciples' feet. And then he said, you also ought to wash others' feet just as I have done, as an example. We're to love one another and serve one another. And that's how we stay under the spout of Christ's love. Jesus says, you're not a servant. You're not a servant. You're a friend. I tell you my secrets. I tell you everything that the Father has told me. I let you in on the personal aspects of my life, so you're my friends. And what's awesome about knowing Jesus is Jesus becomes your best friend. In Proverbs, it says, there's a friend that sticks closer than a brother, and that's Christ. He sticks closer than a brother. Jesus also reminds us that we didn't choose him. He chose us so that we could bear fruit for his kingdom.